And welcome to Blockbuster Bums. Kick back your recliner, crack open a beer, and let's talk movies. And today we'll be talking about Never Say Never Again, the non canon return of Sean Connery. But yes, we are going to include it in our Bond storyline, even though it's not canon, just because it's another Bond movie to look at and we wanted to. So, Justin, would you like to give us a quick synopsis of this movie?
It'll be very brief. This is a retelling of Thunderball. We've got a Spectre agent stealing 2 nuclear warheads, and James Bond once again needing to find the targets before they're detonated. I mean, that's essentially what it is.
Fair enough. Barry, do you want to touch on your thoughts first time watching this movie?
Yeah, and I think maybe this may be other people's first time watching this too. I'm not totally sure. I don't know. Tom?
Yeah, I think this was my first time watching it all the way through.
Yeah.
It's one of those where I knew it existed, but yeah, I didn't care as much when I was younger.
Yeah, I'm glad we decided to watch it. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
I, took note of Sean Connery's age at the beginning, but then quickly moved on from it. Didn't care the rest of the way. I think he was awesome. And yeah, I'm really glad that they made this movie. And on some level, it's almost, to me, as good as the original Thunderball. Maybe not quite as, I'll think about it, but yeah, very good.
Awesome. Tom, what were your thoughts on the watch?
I enjoyed it from start to finish. Like, the production value in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, got to me to where it was just poorer quality. You could tell I'm sure it didn't have the same type of budget that some of the other films did. But once I started hearing the dialogue and the writing and like the character development, I really enjoyed this film. It to me was all around a great spy movie and all like what we've been really wanting like for a long time out of James Bond films. And I think this was a good return to it and a good like reprisal with Sean Connery, like doing Bond his way and all.
Fair enough. Justin, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. There's very little that I didn't like about it. Again, I enjoyed Connery back as Bond. It was good. I mean, yes, he's older, and you see it, and in certain parts you can tell, but he's still James Bond. He's still cool. I enjoyed it from start to finish.
Awesome. Ray, thoughts?
So for me, it didn't feel like a Bond movie, but I'm not gonna hate on it. It was still decent. Like the rehash story, the vibe of the movie, it kind of like it was still a spy movie, but it also felt like a military movie, like all the way through.
Yeah.
So, to me, it didn't feel like a Bond movie, but it was still decent.
I liked the movie as well. Maybe not as much as some of you guys, but I did like it. I had to make myself look past Connery's age, but once I did and started looking for other things, it was a solid movie. I would watch it again for sure. It was hard to find, honestly. Like it wasn't like I couldn't find it on streaming services.
It was on Max.
Oh, I believe it.
Oh, was it on Max?
Yeah, the only one that's on Max.
Gotcha. And it took me a while to find it to buy it. I ended up buying it on DVD just so because I don't have it, and I found it finally. It was a little more expensive than I expected it to be, but snatched it up. So yeah, I liked it. So, like Justin said, this is a retelling of Thunderball, but it does not follow the Thunderball movie like blow for blow. Like it is a different story. A lot of the characters' names are the same. Largo has a different first name, but he's still Largo. Domino returns with the same name. Of course, there's M and Moneypenny and Q and James Bond. All that good stuff.
See, I don't mind the fact that he was older, though. I think they wrote in the storyline, like, it was easy for me to dismiss that part of the movie because, like, in the beginning, they had it to where it was like, like I said, like, the Double O's had been disbanded.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, like, it's like he has been teaching people that to go into the field rather than being in the field himself. Like, and I think that like there's a good back and forth. They address it there. Like, they don't say how long they've been disbanded and all that, but it long enough that even when he sees Q later on, like, Q's lost his damn mind and all that, like just making shit in a lab by himself. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad that you're back. Like, we can't get things done with this new generation of people and all. Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like, and then like, there's even some of the gadgets where like I'm more forgiving of, like, because they wrote that in there, him getting away with more gadgets, like the watch and everything with the laser and all that, and just like little shit that like it wasn't over the top, but it was still James Bond.
They definitely, just played into, we know he's old, so we're going to
Yeah,
just talk
like I
about
said,
it.
just lean into it, and I feel like what they did with the storyline accounts for it. But like I said, he doesn't look like, it's not like he's decrepit. Like, I mean, he's still out there doing it. Like, yeah, there's certain stunts where it's clear that it's a double or a dummy and stuff like that. But I mean, for the most part, it's believable enough.
I think physically, I'm not talking about like his face and stuff, but like physically, I feel like he's in better shape than he was in Diamonds.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was even
like-
I
walking
agree.
around shirtless for a majority of the film and all that. Like,
Yeah.
what, in the spa and everything. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in Diamonds, he takes his shirt off in one scene and he has a big gut.
Not
So-
great.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, just, what to say? Like,
Yeah, for however old Connery was,
52.
52. I mean, he's not, doesn't look like he's in spectacular shape, but he looks like he's a guy in
No.
pretty good shape for that age. So it's hard to get crabby with that.
but
And
I feel like they also allude to it when he meets Felix for the first time. Like, cause what, he throws like an apple or something like that at him. Like, his reflexes are just as fast as Felix's throwing and all that. And it's like him like testing him and all that. Like, like, are you like still good? Like,
yeah, I could have
So
done with
it's-
them offering James Bond fewer like rectal medical procedures.
Yeah.
The colonics, and then there was something else offered at some point.
get rid of those free
What-
those
Is
free
it really an
radicals.
image
Like,
of James Bond I want in my mind? To be honest with you,
I'm sure he skipped those.
I don't know.
Yes.
Come on, Bond, bend on over,
I
buddy.
think M was insistent. But anyway,
Well, the doctor was pretty.
yeah.
Yeah, at one point he's like, "There's nothing we can't. It's nothing we can't solve with a suppository." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
They love to
hell
do
on
butt
the
stuff.
lead with, yeah. Like,
Well, before we get too far away from it, what did you all think of them going back to fake killing Bond in the first minute of the movie?
Oh.
We haven't had that for a while. I don't think we've had it since Connery, actually.
I liked it all
I
right.
thought it was fine. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, Connery's back."
They didn't linger on the idea that it actually happened. They very
Yeah.
quickly, the big reveal
it,
happened
it
almost
was nice
immediately.
to see because, like I was telling them on the ride in, like the intro threw me off because they couldn't use the normal James Bond intro.
Yeah.
So like you get like this weird like this straight into the music and like camera shot intro and then it goes into that, but then that is one of the like the telltales of old Connery films to where like, oh, you still get this and like you still see the gun barrel and everything.
Did you
leading
like the
in,
hundreds
like,
of 007s
Oh, no.
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of
like-
fading in or out? You didn't like that, Ray?
Hell no.
I kind of liked it. It was all right. Not your thing, though.
I mean, of course they had to do something different, but
Hmm.
I don't know. It was just weird.
It is a little odd.
Yeah.
I like odd stuff. I've decided I do like odd stuff. In,
I mean, I
in
do
my
too,
James
but-
Bond movies.
Sometimes it's just like
well, in the
you just kind of throw it in my face. 007, 007, 007.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know what the fuck this movie is.
Hundreds of times. They wanted to remind you for sure.
Yeah. If you didn't know, now you know.
So, what did you think of? They clearly went with very young versions of M and Moneypenny. Do you think that was the right call, or do you think that it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, or what?
No, that's definitely a right call because you had him teaching all these kids, and the original M would have probably been done and replaced by now. So you had to pretty much recast to get the storyline or the time frame right for everything to line up.
This M, I want to mention first of all this guy's name. I think it's Edward Fox, the actor, and I had just watched him a couple of weeks ago in The Day of the Jackal, and he was awesome in that movie, and it's an awesome movie. And in this movie, I don't know if he was just directed to be an obnoxious screaming jerk.
Yeah.
But that's kind of all he does.
No, he
And
sucks.
It's unfortunate.
I have written on my notes over here, M sucks.
Yeah, and I have to
Yeah.
imagine that that's
But I'm sure he's supposed to.
directed to do this. I have to
it's
imagine.
like, be a pain in Bond's ass because you're not supposed to like this guy. Like,
Well, he made everybody hate him. I mean, I hated him. Alex seems to have hated
then
him.
he did
Yeah.
his job. Well,
Yeah, I guess so. I don't want to hate my M though. I want to kind of be like, you old crank,
well, they made
but
it.
but largely like him.
They even made it sound like he had taken over. So like they kind of wrote away the old M as well.
Mm.
So it was kind of one of those things where like, oh, this is how I'm doing it. So I took it as like, you're just that asshole that's like trying to leave his mark, and you're trying to make
Yeah.
a statement for a career. Like you're that guy.
He's very much a career.
Yeah, well,
guy.
that's the
I
way took
don't
it.
know who I talked to Justin about it and Tom about it off air separately, so I don't remember which one we were talking about it. But like, it seems like a guy that like a young guy that has been promoted and is trying to like prove that he this is why I was promoted. Like, you know, like I'm a hard ass and I'm gonna yell at you and the famous 007, you suck. Like trying to make his mark type situation.
Yeah, everybody's favorite boss.
Yeah, yeah.
But more or less it did, like, because then he got like they did bring back the double O's and everything on his watch, and it was a successful mission. Like, so I mean,
Yeah.
like
Not that he was given a choice. I mean, the prime minister was like, "You need to bring back the double O's."
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he was like, "Well, I'm choosing to do this,"
but he was in charge when it happened. Like,
because when
Like, so he'll get
when
credit.
Bond
Like,
when Bond asked
fair
to be put out on mission, he was like, "No, you're retired. The double O's are no more." So I mean, he was obviously against the idea.
oh yeah.
So, yeah, I just thought it was interesting they went with people. So because I don't know how old they were, I didn't look it up, but like Moneypenny looked like she was like in her 20s.
Yeah, Moneypenny was pretty young.
Everybody retired but Bond.
Yeah, like,
So I don't know. It was interesting, but they did not make Q young. I mean, he may be younger than Llewellyn,
no,
but I don't know that he wasn't young.
But once again, he was that echo to that throwback. Like I feel like you needed to keep one of those characters in there old, so it made sense to keep the guy that's doing all the inventing for Bond to be out there, and it's easy to make him then like the crackpot scientist inventor. Now it's been like, hey, now you're just like a hermit down in the lab making shit that nobody uses and all. Like,
But did Q? I kind of took it this way. Do you all take it this way? Q kind of made it seem like MI6 was broke.
Yeah, because it looked
Yeah.
like they were in the chop shop.
Well, he said they shrank his budget.
Yeah, he's like, I can't even keep the heat on.
Well, if they
That
didn't have
not being able to turn
O's.
not being able to turn the heat on isn't like they shrunk my budget. It's like we're broke, we have no money. Heat's the last thing to go. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, this guy was very pleased to have the double O's back, and I guess along with that, of course, maybe he'll get some funding. I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Tom and I were talking about this earlier today. If this was the storyline they went with the original Thunderball, I don't feel like it would have worked. Like, you just found out Spectre is a thing, and then you close down the double O's?
Oh yeah, that part I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think would work.
yeah, well, that's what
Yeah.
we were talking about. Where in the timeline does it fall with all the movies? Then, like, because if you put it in chronological order, like how they were released, then yeah, with what is happening and how they write in the characters doesn't make sense with the rest of the time frame. I mean,
Like,
of course, it isn't canon, so it doesn't matter a whole
Right.
lot. But that's what we were talking about, like where would it fit in? But
also, when did Diamonds Are Forever come out? 70, right?
yeah,
So I think that the idea is that shortly after that, the program went away.
Could be. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really try and think about, like, where it tried to fall in the movies. I didn't even cross my mind, to be honest with you. That could very well be it.
I don't know that for sure.
I was just thinking, like, putting it on par with the movie it was supposed to be a remake of, like, it just doesn't fit. I mean, the obvious thing that doesn't fit is obviously Bond aged 30 years. But I just meant, like, the story itself doesn't make a lot of sense if you put it in as the third movie.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, there'd be no disbanding of.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
disbanding, no older Bond. Yeah. they'd have to leave that out.
I do like in this one we actually see how the warheads like became live.
Mm-hmm.
Like 'cause I know that was one of the things we talked about in the first one was like, would they really test with real ones and all that? Like it's like, well, the answer is obviously no, but this guy like snuck them in there and everything to
Yeah.
be stolen. Also, was like, all right, that makes sense now in the storyline. So, but
I like that change.
yeah, like yeah,
Instead
it
of
was
this guy
it was part of it that I
hijacked the plane
get.
in midair,
Yeah,
and
like
as opposed to the first one, no, they just changed this guy's eye, and he went into where he could change it, and it was good.
Yeah, I think I told Tom earlier that
It was a simpler thing.
the Largo from Thunderball, his plan was more fleshed out. And we knew all about it. We knew everything going in, what they were doing, all these things. And the holdup was, why were the missiles live? That didn't make any sense to
yeah,
us.
it was just plot hole.
And this one,
why
I
would
feel
they
like you
test
kind of
real?
switched. Like, they explained to us in depth how they got the missiles live. But the plan wasn't that fleshed out,
Yeah, change one guy's eyeball and hope it works.
which is a weird plan, by the way. We're going to change one eyeball.
Foil in
That's
it.
all. That's all it needed to read though.
It was
one.
It was made out of aluminum foil.
Yeah, it's
If you saw the side of the irises, it looked like foil on the side or
it's
something.
all right. It's 80s technology. Like, it's
Hey, the
better.
graphics on those rockets those were pretty nice. The way they're flying through the air, like you get, like it kind of felt like it was like real missiles going on.
I was wondering what was gonna happen with those when they were flying. Like that's where like during that like I was like, ooh, what am I about to see here? Like what are they gonna change a whole lot? And
I wish they would have showed them stopping. Because I was like,
Yeah.
how the hell are they going to do this? I want to see it. And then they cut away.
yeah,
And I was like,
you
yeah.
just like cut to them like down in the ocean or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
I felt like the scene where you're, like Ray's talking about, where you're watching them fly through the air, I felt like it looked like a video game.
yeah. Well, yeah, they took full of like well, this whole movie took advantage of like video games in general. Like fucking Largo has like a whole arcade on his yacht
Yeah.
and whatnot, and then he like has that homemade video game that like shocks you and everything, like but donates money to his charity for kids. Like
Well, that and then they had like the overlays when they're like zooming in with binoculars or whatever. Or,
yeah,
like that kind of stuff. That was pretty good.
It looked very Tron, like very angular. Like
Yeah, I guess it'd be the dawn of the video game
Well,
era.
well, and
so it'd be
Mhm.
that's what
you
we were
know,
talking
a hot
about.
and
It was
big
like
thing.
you'd have to be like a millionaire or something like that to have that many like
Right.
arcade games just set up and everything for people to like to fuck off on.
Yeah, like he has that casino portion, and then she opens the door. Domino opens the door and walks in the other room, and it's a whole arcade.
yeah.
Like, yeah, no regular person has a full, especially in 1983, has a full arcade like that. You could buy arcade games fairly for a couple $100 now.
Yeah, now it doesn't give it. Yeah,
But like in 1983, like you said, you'd have to be a millionaire to afford something like that.
Did any of that bother you guys? That hey, there's fucking Galaga in the James Bond movie or whatever.
It didn't bother me at all. I think it might have bothered. I think Barry and I talked about this the other day. I think it might have bothered me if like Bond was hanging out in an arcade.
Right.
You know, like that's not a place we would find
sipping
Bond.
on a Pepsi and
Right? Yeah. Like, but no, it didn't bother me at all. Domino went into her boyfriend's arcade, and Bond followed her in to have a conversation with her.
Well,
Like,
and
I was
it's-
fine with
yeah,
it.
and it seemed like everybody that was at that party specifically was there for a charity. So it's like I get a bunch of people trying out something that's new and
Yeah.
everything and novel. Like
yeah.
so I can see that, and everybody was there to just like donate money and hang out with Largo anyway.
Yeah.
So it's
And in some way, it was cutting edge to some degree. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Mhm.
Yeah.
like seen as anything.
Yeah, I'm sure in 1983 there was a lot of people watching that movie going, "Holy crap, that is cool!"
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Like an arcade, you have your own personal arcade.
Yeah,
Speaking
because
of,
everybody was playing Pong back in. That's all they had.
I guess if we're on the games topic to some degree, I mean, it's worth mentioning then the Largo's game that he invented himself.
Mm-hmm.
I like that game.
I don't know if I understand what the game is aside from
Domination.
shoot and
Domination.
block. But it's on a
Well,
giant
only-
pool table
It
and
is,
a
yeah.
perpendicular screen of some sort.
Yeah.
It's a hologram.
Yeah, it's awesome. It looks really cool. That was kind of a fun scene, and I like the way Bond played it off.
Yeah, because they kept raising the stakes to where it was like, like this is gonna hurt, and now I'm gonna show you that I can play this game very well. Like,
It was a very Bond scene. like almost like he was a pool shark or a card shark, like letting you think he sucked,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden when the stakes are at the highest, oh, I'm actually really good at this. It was a very Bond move.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I thought it was cool. Nice to look at. It's different, and I guess Largo himself. Um, I think he is a much better Largo. It is Largo and not Lago, right?
Yeah.
Largo.
Yeah.
Largo. Than
Maximilian Largo.
the original Largo from Thunderball. This guy's more interesting.
Oh, way better.
This guy's a real villain,
Yeah,
like
not
real
not to
villainous.
knock the other Largo from the other movie. It's fine, but this guy's
No, I'll
far
knock,
more
I'll knock
interesting.
the other Largo. The other Largo
Yeah.
was a bitch compared to this one. Like,
This guy's sinister.
Yeah.
He's kind of charming, actually.
Like, the
There
other
are
guy couldn't
times in the
even
movie
trap
where I
shoot.
like him, but then
Yeah.
he reminds you what a bastard he is.
Oh, I mean, he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there are times when it's like you're almost cooler than James Bond right now. Like,
Yeah.
like there's times when it's like I almost want you to win a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
yeah.
I think
like
we
you said, definitely sociopathy. Like,
he delivers his line of "I'd cut your throat"
yeah,
with such perfection. Because like
and they just
when she's like, "What would you do if I leave you?"
Yeah,
and he laughs and tries to walk away, and she's like, "No, seriously." And he's like, "I'd cut your throat." And then he smiles at her, but in a smile that's not really like, "Oh, I'm kidding with you." It's more of like an evil smile.
You know that, right? You know what I'm going to do to you.
But then he blows her a kiss and then walks out the room. I just thought it was perfect the way he delivered it.
Well, he makes another jab like that, talking to number 12 later on, because she even mentions his dark humor when talking about her and all that. It's like when they're looking down and seeing her dance with Bond and all.
Yeah, because she says something like, "When are you going to get rid of her?" And he's like, "It's not time yet," or
Yeah.
something like that, or I can't remember exactly. But yeah, he does talk about killing her again.
So yeah, but like so he knew it was coming and all in some capacity, but like I said, just really crazy dude and all that.
You know when I
but-
knew that he was a bad guy? When he tried to sell his girlfriend to the
Oh yeah,
the Arab gentlemen, the warlords or whatever.
Oh, and shoot,
He's not a good boyfriend.
Speaking of like '80s actors and everything, the guy that was actually doing the auctioning, like I just recognized him as playing the main villain in like he's like the main bad guy that's always of Arab descent in every '80s action film. Like, 'cause I just immediately seen, I was like, that's a young, like I can't remember his name, but that's a young version of him and everything. I was like, just think of him like 40 pounds heavier and all, but it's like I know you, buddy. Like totally no speaking role whatsoever. Like, but yeah, he's just the auctioneer and all that. Like, then we go to him with the horse Bond with the horse chase scene and all out of all that. Yeah, because then that's what leads to them jumping off the cliff and everything with the horse and whatnot that we were talking about.
Well, we talked about that, but now my question is, okay, so if that was cut from all these countries across the world for animal cruelty,
Well, the
how did
falling of the horse.
yeah,
right?
the falling of the horse,
Okay.
how did they escape? Did they change it, or they just cut that all together and you just have to assume Bond escaped?
I would imagine you probably show them going off the side, and then you just show like the horse swimming and them swimming. Like,
I think that's
'cause-
probably what they did.
yeah, I think you just cut out the scene where you're looking down and see it horse person. Like,
Which is also weird. I don't want to get off on like a tangent here, but it's weird that you're okay with people falling off a cliff, but just not a horse.
it's about the ethical treatment of animals on set, Alex.
They threw the people off the cliff too. I'm just saying.
Those people got paid.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what the compensation for the horse was. Like,
I'm sure he got fed.
That's all the horse can ask for, really.
Probably a thing in his contract. If he died, they would eat him, so that they're not wasting the animal.
claws in there. Like, just
Or-
like,
Or the old timeless tale of the glue factory.
Yeah.
like,
Dog food.
Yeah, dog
Something.
food.
but it lived and everything. We've seen it swim away. So
Yeah, I mean the horse lived. Yeah.
So have we talked much about the domino in this movie, Kim Basinger? What do you guys think of?
I like this
Think of
domino
her.
better.
You liked her better.
I did. I like because it's like, I mean, yeah, we don't see as much of her brother part of it. Like Alex was saying earlier, like if you've seen both these movies, I feel like you get the full scope. Like they really do fit in the pieces and all that. And it's like it does seem like it was easier to turn this domino. Like he just kind of outright says who he is after like after the awkward massage and everything, and then sees her in like the casino and everything, is like, my name is Bond, James Bond, and like just tells her entirely what happened and all that, and about her brother and all.
She
Oh,
she
as they danced, he filled her in.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
just, and she just like doesn't question it, just goes with it.
yep,
Like,
she
takes
buys it in like
fa-
10 seconds.
Yeah, face value. Like, so I was like, all right, like,
He's like, okay, so when are we gonna kill Largo?
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's, I mean, so it was one of
I
those
think she
things.
already wanted to get away from Largo anyway.
Yeah,
I think they spent a large portion of this movie not only trying to make Domino, pretty and attractive, but like playing to sex appeal. There was a lot of
well, definitely with all the dancing.
the dancing.
jokes and all
She was
that.
either dancing and swimming
Yeah.
and doing all these activities where she has less clothes on, where she's in all these provocative poses. She's stretching. She has her leg up by her head. Like all these things they were doing with her. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I think that they did use her in like a sexual provocative way during a lot of the movie.
Yeah, they probably could have given her. I didn't think about it much, but you're right. It would have been better if they would have given her a little more to work with. Or do you not care?
I think she did fine.
Yeah, I didn't
Like,
mind. I didn't mind the character.
Yeah, I was happy with what I got and all that. Like I said, she was basically like there trying to investigate what happened to her brother, and was kind of bumbling around until she ran into Bond, and he kind of filled her in on what happened. But and even like they even kept with a story where she is still the one that ends up killing Largo and all, like with the harpoon, and like it's just that now she actually like, I think this death was better. Because, like I said, he was trapped in that little machine, and he was getting ready to just like to coup de grace Bond actually, and then she saves him, rather than in the last one where yeah, she saved Bond too, but it was like it wasn't in the same
Then
manner.
like that Largo fell
Yeah.
into the thing in the boat, and then
I was gonna say,
it was weird.
Yeah, I feel like the ending was way better in this one and all. Like, and even after that, because like even the fight scene that led up to it was better between like him and Bond underwater with the knife and all that. Like, slap the breather out of his mouth and whatnot. They're still after the nuke and everything. Like, it was way more tense than the Thunderball one. Like,
I will say this though, Thunderball is like there's so much more underwater stuff in that movie. Like the underwater stuff. I mean, we talked about it in the Thunderball episode. I don't want to rehash that, but like we were like dumbfounded at how much underwater stuff they were able to do in 1960
don't get me
whatever.
wrong. Yeah, for the time and the production value, like I said, but it was worth the investment too.
Absolutely.
Like they came out on top, but like I said, you didn't see the big underwater battle. They didn't try for that in this one. Like,
Right.
They kept it like on ground, and you just seen him and Largo like mainly fighting underwater, and then he got saved by Domino and some randos that she had with her and all that for some reason. Like, but I mean, but I liked that ending way better and all. Like, I mean, yeah, it was cool to see the big like budget theatrics part of it, but I think with this one, it seemed more like a believable spy mission to me. Even when we seen like Spectre for a little bit, like it wasn't in this big elaborate hall. It was in like a smoker's lounge and everything, and like I don't know, like somebody's parlor and all. Like,
Yeah, and it wasn't necessary. Like there was agents in the room.
yeah, 'cause,
Like,
'cause they,
number 2 was obviously there because that was Largo, and number 12 was there. But it also just looked like otherwise it just looked like a bunch of rich people.
yeah,
It wasn't necessarily like
Investors.
yeah.
yeah. But that's kind of what I would gather though. So it was, I don't know. It seemed like all of it seemed more believable to me as far as like a spy mission and stuff.
That was one of the downfalls to the movie for me was Blofeld. I didn't like Blofeld in this movie.
Yeah, could have done without it.
The guy that plays Blofeld, I like as an actor, but this was not the role for him. He wasn't believable as this very sinister, ruthless villain. And there, like I think we've lost that. In Thunderball, we still didn't know who Blofeld was. We still didn't know what he looked like. He was just the mastermind behind Spectre, and we always saw him petting his cat, but we never saw his face, and we never, all these things, and we were still trying to learn about him. At this point, we know a lot about Blofeld, and they didn't try and hide anything. There was no suspense, and he was just like, and he just goes on camera and essentially is like, give us $100 million and we won't blow you up. Like, and it was like, oh, okay. Like, there wasn't any. I don't know. He just wasn't like ruthless or scary or sinister or anything like that. I wasn't big on this Blofeld.
Yeah, he almost came across like as a professor or something.
Yeah.
Like a-
Yes, he did. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Barry.
Professor Blofeld.
Yeah.
Well, like that's. I think they could have got away if they cut a few scenes and just done him petting the cat and used same actor, the voice and all that. Like
Had a lot of cat shots in this
Yeah.
movie.
There was a
There-
ton of
yeah,
cat shots.
like, it's-
For a while, I thought maybe the cat was gonna do something because they just kept showing it by itself,
Like,
and I
what
was
is
like,
this
"Is
cat
the
up to?"
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's licking himself, meowing. Ridiculous.
I will say that this movie was smart, whoever wrote this movie, because of the ransom they wanted to kind of keep it, I guess, somewhat timeless, at least in this regard, was I think he demanded 25% of every nation's gross domestic product or something like that.
Yeah.
So they didn't put a number figure on it.
every year?
was
It wasn't
percent,
just
yeah.
like this year; it was
Yeah.
forever."
Yeah, that one
Which is
like,
a pretty strong demand.
It
that
is,
one
yes.
country, like
Yeah.
yeah, that
number.
one stepped up and like pointed to another, like that's 90 billion, for like pointing to somebody or yelling, like they started yelling out billions and all that. Like it's like
Yeah.
yeah, it adds up quick. Like
So it's a pretty good racket if you can get in on it. So.
oh yeah, extortion's great. Like,
I wanted to ask about the fight when Bond's at the spa place. Is it Bushwood? Something, I don't know what it's called.
oh yeah, with that one big goon and
And
all
then
that.
lots of good stuff happens there.
Like when he
frankly.
drops the weight on his chest.
Yeah, but then he
Yeah,
has the
it's-
fight with the pretty big goon character,
Mhm.
and I thought it was a pretty fun fight.
I like that, yeah, because it really reminded me of the remake of the Punisher fight when he with Kevin Nash as like the Russian. That's what it reminded me of. So this big
Oh,
dude just
yeah.
just hulking out, throwing him through stuff, like taking the weights and hitting him and stuff, just like in the Punisher. Like
I thought
yeah,
I thought the fight was good. I thought the ending was very anticlimactic and bullshit.
Oh, I loved the ending.
No, I was cool with him throwing his own urine in his face. I was okay with that. But then he fell back into some glass bottles and died. Like, are you kidding me? Like, Bond just got thrown through 3 shelves of glass bottles
see his-
and over top of a counter of glass
The
bottles.
glass is like straight into his back.
Yes.
They were not that way when he backed into.
Yeah, it was a little puzzling at first because much
Oh.
like Bond himself, at first I was like, his urine killed the guy.
yeah, just look
Yeah,
at it,
'cause
like, what
you-
happened.
they wanted you to think that he threw like some acid or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
And
that's
then
why,
they
yeah,
looked
I
at
thought,
the
like,
James Bond's urine
It's a
sample.
really very funny joke, actually. But then, yeah, I thought the fight was good all the way through. It had some humorous parts to it. The action was good, and yeah, the ending I thought was great. The direction of the beakers and so forth, I agree, made no sense whatsoever. But I'll overlook it.
oh yeah, for what I got, I'll overlook it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I enjoyed that fight.
So where do these villains keep getting these indestructible henchmen? Like, this is now, we're up to quite a few guys that, like, take, like, steel to their body, like, and just, it bounces off and they just keep
Weights
moving.
off of his chest, like,
I figure they're Norwegian or something.
If you look hard enough, you can find. They're not hard to find. Like that's the market that you're after. Like
Henchmen are us.
yeah, like let's go to the internet. Like
Should we real quick touch on? She's a pretty cool character. She's crazy. Is number 12? Is
Number
that-
12.
no,
like
sweet
it.
Fatma
Jesus.
Blush.
Yeah.
Say that again.
That is a.
Fatma Blush.
Fatma Blush.
And she's making James
Yeah.
Bond write the letter and everything.
She is a
like,
crazy.
She's a crazy person.
woman.
Yeah, she
Um,
is. Like
Even the way she dresses, it was so. Everything about her is just wild. And quite the character. She made a lot of the scenes fun.
So she wanted the whole world to know that James Bond said she was the best lay in the world.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's, I mean,
So much so that she blew up over it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which yeah, I just like just like go Q. Like just like
Well, Q almost got him killed because it almost didn't work.
yeah, but that's still I was like, man, like that was like just it was one of those like scenes that I didn't expect the explosion, I guess. Like I don't know what I was expecting, but that one caught me off guard. I'm like, oh shit, like
What did you think of Felix telling him, "Oh, I watched that happen. I was gonna see how you handle it."
Yeah,
Like essentially, like saying, "Oh, if she was gonna kill you, she was gonna kill you, bro. I wasn't helping."
yeah, I was like, I would have swooped
See,
in the last minute, like hurt your pride,
You
like.
work together, but you're still competing agencies.
Yeah.
If something happens,
Well,
it's
And
happening.
I just love too, like as soon as Bond was free, it's like grenade launcher, and he's like, "All right, get him!" Like just Felix wasted no time just mowing people down once he got the green
Yeah,
light.
this
Like,
Felix was a lot more capable than
yeah, like, he
Felix was very cool.
yeah.
Felix was like machine guns, grenade launchers, like just 80s action hero is
Yeah.
what Felix was. Yeah,
He was just as big as like what Connery, and Connery is what, like 6'3" or so.
yeah.
Like, so it was one of those, like, yeah, this is like different casting choice and all that by far.
Yeah,
What it-
it's a good choice.
First off, I was happy to see Felix back. This is the first time we've seen Felix since Live and Let Die. He went on like a 5-movie hiatus, which
And he came back badass and black.
well, yes, yeah, he changed races, but yeah,
Was he in Thunderball?
yeah, because he flew
Yeah,
him
he
out
flew
to the
him
shark
out for the
compound.
shark,
Remember,
yeah.
Okay.
he flew him out there in the helicopter.
Felix just don't like snow. That's
that,
all it
that
is.
was sunglasses guy.
That's
Felix.
it. Yeah. Yeah, okay, I remember that now.
I call
Yeah.
him sunglasses.
Is this guy possibly the best
creepily-
Felix to this point?
He's my favorite
I
Felix.
think so.
Like,
Yeah.
I like
I
He
80s.
think
did
he is.
more. He did more.
I like
Um,
1980s Felix, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just that's what it is. I like,
He acts
I
like he's had more like military training than
yeah,
just
I like
sitting in
my
the
Felix
fucking
with the
desk.
grenade
Well, he's
launcher.
supposed to be the CIA's top agent, so he should be capable. You know what I'm
Should
saying?
be.
Like,
And he was.
But the way they portrayed him in the other ones, he
He's
just
kinda-
seemed like he was a
yeah.
pencil pusher out on the field.
He kind of came across that way. I agree.
well,
Jack Lord came across.
in Live and Let Die, which was Moore's first movie, he tells Moore or James Bond that he got a promotion, and he now just is sending people out into the field. But then we never saw him again.
Yeah.
So like it was like he's not in. He's only in one more movie.
He kept getting promoted.
I guess it just bums me out.
Yeah.
Felix is legit.
Good character.
Felix will be back though. Don't you everybody worry. Felix will be back, and in a big way.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Yes, yes.
Not my Felix.
Not my Felix. Shut the fuck up.
Stand right now. Like,
So, do you think that was like a choice? Do you think they said, "Hey, we're just gonna write Felix out for a while," or do you think like it was just something that happened?
I mean, probably
Yeah.
went
No,
either
it's
way. I mean,
Yeah.
either way is probably a valid theory.
well, especially with them going back and forth, like back and forth with directors and all that. Like,
Yeah, 'cause in those movies, they went to the U.S. several times.
And not only that, but we saw the CIA several times, just not Felix.
Goodhead was a CIA agent, but Felix didn't send her, I guess.
Maybe
Yeah.
it was part of the Moore thing where he's just tossing shit out and doing his own thing.
yeah, like giving and taking stuff. Like,
And then the first time we see Connery again, Felix is back.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're
Well,
getting
it's
ready
a-
to do A View to a Kill next week, which is a return to Moore again for the last time, and Felix is not in that movie either.
Nope.
But there is a CIA agent. So I don't know. This is something interesting to think about because then Felix immediately returns in the Dalton movies.
Yeah.
Well, I
So-
don't think Roger Moore himself would give a shit if there's a Felix character.
No, I'm not blaming Roger Moore. I'm just wondering why. Like it is like he only missed one Connery movie. Like he's in all but one of the Connery movies, and then he shows up in the very first Moore movie, and then it was like, nope, you can't come back. It was just like 6 movies of no Felix. It was just I don't know. It's just something I keep thinking about every movie that comes about without him again. And then of course Connery comes back for one solo movie, and this one, Never Say Never Again. And of course Felix is back.
It is an odd thing to have a character like that
Yeah.
that you use consistently and then very inconsistently. That is odd.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be curious if he's wrote in the books or not.
Yeah.
Like whether he's just a character that they used here and there, like you said, sprinkled in like whenever or not.
Fair enough. And Tom and I also talked off air earlier that I wonder which one of these movies, Thunderball or Never Say Never Again, is closer to the book. Like which storyline is close? We think closer to the book, or maybe they both took things from the books. like Tom said earlier, they almost kind of fit together when you put them together. So maybe they're both pretty on par, and and
Well,
just,
yeah, like you said,
4-hour movies.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they
like, it
Yeah.
would make for such a long movie. But I feel like it's like I said, in this one we got so much of Largo's character and like the little ins and outs there, whereas like in Thunderball it was all like James Bond's side of the storyline development. Like I said, we knew this huge elaborate plan going into it. We seen, like I said, Felix and everything had more of a role and everything because he was like creeping and following him the whole time rather than just like popping up, meeting him at the airport. Like I said, it was almost like two halves of a full story. But I would almost bet that I feel like this one is closer to the book. Like I have nothing based on that, but just the way like the writing, the dialogue is, or even the way it's shot, to where like it just feels like it would be closer to like what the novel would be. But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I haven't.
Like, do,
I'm
do you guys know
sure the
anybody
internet will tell me.
that's read the books or anything like that? No.
no. I have them in my I have them in my my Amazon cart, but I never push buy because I have them in there as the whole collection. So there's like 45 books or whatever.
Oh
So it's
my
like
God.
it's really expensive. So I'm like but I never push play. I keep kind of hoping like my wife will get them for me for Christmas or something.
How
But
much
no,
is it for
I've never read 'em.
45? Like $1,000?
I'm sorry, what?
How much for all 45?
Oh, it's like 300 and some bucks.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
Because not all of them. I think I overestimated what I said for you. I think it's 38.
38.
But
Put them all on audiobook and do them. Just power through them.
Yeah.
One and a
Yeah.
half
Yeah.
speed and all that. Just burn through them in like 2-3 weeks. Probably burned out on the nonsense by then, but
Yeah.
like.
yeah, some of them aren't long though. Like, I think we talked about that during Octopussy.
Yeah,
Like
some
the
of 'em are,
Octopussy book is like 100 pages long. Like it's not big at all. It's just like a little like a story in between the bigger books. So, was there anything else you guys want to talk about real quick before we move on?
No, I mean,
No, I mean,
said
it's pretty
all-
cut and dry story, really.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
said, I really liked it though. Like as far as it, like I said, not being canon or whatever as part of it. Like, no, I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah. The only things I want to mention are that there was a fair amount of sex jazz in this movie.
There was.
Sex
Um,
jazz.
There was, yes.
And it wasn't just during sexy time either. It was at odd times.
Like to the dance studio scene.
Yeah, which I mean,
Well,
frankly,
there
I
was
kind of
supposed to be-
liked it after a while. I found it amusing. Like I'm waiting for the sex jazz
It
to
was,
come
it was,
back
I
on.
think it was supposed to be like that because you got Largo watching them, and obviously he's probably watching this dude to make sure he doesn't get too close to Domino.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because like
And
I
if
said,
he
it was-
would have,
he-
if he would have touched him,
yeah.
uh,
Well, because we seen what happens when when Bond
Largo would've
kissed her
broke
and
the glass
everything.
on his
Yeah,
ass and came out
Bond
there.
came, or Largo came in there with an axe, like so.
but they wanted to see that there was some kind of like the way she looked at him and the way he looked back at her. There was
Yeah,
a slight sexual tension between them.
yeah.
But I think I also kind of took it like Largo was kind of getting off on that. Like there's that,
Oh,
but she's mine.
Watching.
Yeah, like she's mine still. Like she's still coming back to me. Like I'll kill you and then go bang her afterwards, and that like he's like really getting off on that.
But what I liked about that is that like Bond figured that out and she didn't, and that
Yeah.
was one of the reasons why he kissed her. And
Yep.
He kept looking at the mirror.
Yeah,
and
like Bond knew
He's
that
like,
he
"What are
was
you doing? I'm trying to
watching,
get
but
a
she
response."
still didn't get it
Yeah.
and all that. And she's like, "What are you doing?" and all. I'm like,
She's a total ditz in this movie. She's not like the
she's-
the woman that's gonna help Bond out
she's
in these
just-
situations.
Yeah, she's just bumbling forward, trying
Yeah.
to figure out where her brother is legitimately.
It's
She's
all
not.
beyond her. That's
Mhm.
Yeah, like I said, she's not. She's just a person.
She's not like Triple X, where she's gonna be like helping Bond through the movie and like helping him through the missions and everything like that. She's more like a damsel in distress.
Yeah, the other Domino was more capable. Than
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did want to mention one more thing. Is the missile rocket jetpacks? Is something
Oh.
of that nature?
Yeah.
I think they decided
one
we
on
have
the
to do
yacht-
something like that
How did
because
no one on the
Thunderball
yacht
has it.
know that they didn't see these two missiles
Yeah.
going up in the air and two guys popping out of them?
Yeah,
Was
and
this
then
too
just-
silly for you guys? It was very silly. I don't mind that, but I know sometimes Alex, the silly stuff will kind of annoy you What did you think of that?
I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to picture what you're talking about.
When they shot him up out of the
the
sub,
two missiles that were shot
like
out
straight
of
up in
sub,
the air, and it
the
was
shells
Felix and
popped
Bond
off.
in those missile pod things.
Yeah, where he's like standing
Oh,
there.
And
yeah.
Bond asked, hey, do you have these things? And he's like, what? How do you know? Like, out of a translated Russian pamphlet of your son.
Yeah. No.
I didn't mind it.
You didn't
I'll
mind it.
say, yeah.
It was
I like,
very
it's-
silly, and at first
it's-
I was like, "What are
I
we
guess
doing?"
it's better
honestly-
than the jetpacks.
But then,
Yeah,
as
it was-
always,
it-
I
yeah,
just
it was-
embraced it.
It was no different than, like I said, the jetpack we've seen in the earlier movie where he put the helmet on really quick before it happened, and then like the water cannons that only shoot straight out, but people
Right.
don't go to the side. Like,
Now, this may have been a little goofier looking than that, even.
This is goofier than that because, yeah, the water cannon is only shooting one direction is because it's 1963 and that's all they fucking could do. You know, like this is like, oh, we're just,
hey, that jet. After finding out that jetpack was real, that's not an excuse anymore. If I had jetpacks in the '60s, I should have like a really nice jetpack now that I should be able to afford to
Yeah.
drive around.
oh,
That's very
well,
true.
yeah, that's
Technology
true.
has
Yeah.
not jumped that far. It seems like I'm kind of
Because we're lazy, Tom. We're lazy.
Yeah, that's a different podcast.
Someday, a jetpack for every man.
Get to work much quicker.
Like,
Anything else, Barry?
Nope, I just those two things. Sorry.
No. All right. Well, I think that will end our going over the movie portion of this podcast and send us into rankings. First off, I think we got to talk about body count here, gentlemen.
yeah,
Um,
that is
I
on-
have
on the boat. Like,
I have 4 down, but only because Justin told me. Because I had 3 down originally, and then Justin not only told me it was 4, but then told me who the 4 women were. So I'm gonna take his word on it because I apparently missed one while watching the movie.
Yeah.
So
It was the woman in the spa thing, the fisherman woman. whoever
Yes.
She was. She had the
Yeah.
boat. Then you've got
number 12.
12, and then you've got Domino.
Okay. So 4 it is. That's our first time we've ever had a 4 in a movie. I went back and looked.
And it had to take Connery to start it back off.
So
Going out with a bang.
we are now at
Bang, bang, bang.
37 in 14 movies. So a 4 helped us out, gentlemen. 4 helped us out. So I now think we move to Bond girl conversation. But before we place her, gentlemen, I would like to ask, how are we going to differentiate dominoes? Because they're going to be listed under the same name. Do we want to... How are we going to differentiate them when we're talking about them?
Domino 2.
Domino 1 and Domino 2, is that what we're going to do?
Or just Domino Alternate and Domino Hottie.
OG Domino and New School Domino. I don't know.
I like 1 and 2. I think that's
1 and 2.
simple. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
All right, so Domino 1 is from Thunderball, and Domino 2 is from Never Say Never Again, just so everybody's on the same page.
Yep.
All right, so Barry, where would you like to put Domino 2 on the list?
Well, as you guys remember, I take into account the character as well, not just the attractiveness of the actress. Even so, because it's Kim Basinger, I have to put her at 3.
3.
Yes.
Well, that's a very high ranking, Barry.
Yeah, well,
And she's not 45, so I'm surprised.
she made it there.
Yeah. All right, Justin, where are you going?
I got Domino number 2.
Domino 2 at number 2,
Domino
ahead of Domino 1.
Yeah, ahead of Domino 1.
All right. And Ray?
Come back to me because I'm in shock right now.
All right, well, I am also going with Domino 2 at 2. Tom?
Yeah, I'll go with her at 2.
So 3 2s and a 3, and Ray looks dumbfounded.
I believe.
Serious?
I'm actually upset with myself now for not saying 1. She'd still
3
end
and
up-
2?
Oh,
you guys
you-
think she is that smoking hot to go of 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Even with her eyebrows the way they look?
But first off, why the fuck are you looking at her eyebrows?
Because it don't even look right.
Bring a picture up here. Well, like, point out what
God
you're talking
dang,
about. Like,
guys, come on.
because
here.
never have I ever.
Look at
Like,
this.
just
What is going on
Even though
here?
that's not a clear picture, I can see her eyebrows.
Yes, I can clearly see her
Oh my
eyebrows. I
God.
don't understand what you're talking about. They're right there on her face, where they're supposed to be.
Ray,
I don't know about this.
I'm not worried about her eyebrows, Ray, but I understand.
I'm not either,
everyone
but
has
I
their
mean,
own
it's like-
tastes. That's
I'm
all
gonna
right.
I'm gonna say this, Ray. Unless they were like big and bushy and like hanging down on her face, this is a more ridiculous argument than
Look,
Barry's.
look.
What does her character have to do with it? Bullshit. Okay, your eyebrows,
Because they're part of the movie.
this.
yeah, like their eyebrows is what's gonna hold her back from being hot or not.
Okay, hold on here. Let me get us back on cam, 'cause we need to put this-
her character.
Look.
Like,
Okay. I just showed domino number 1. This other domino has barely any womanly features. She got no titties, barely any ass, and y'all want to put her above domino 1?
bring
Are
up,
you
What?
familiar with this woman?
Bring up,
Huh?
Do you even know who Kim Basinger is?
Yeah,
She's-
she was smoking hot in Batman 89. She is not smoking hot in this movie whatsoever.
Bro,
She has
No.
looked better.
you're on an island all by yourself on
but
this one,
she
man.
Still looks good.
I agree. She looked better as she got a little
in
older. I
other
agree.
movies, yeah, she's looked
bring
better,
up
but
domino number
still-
1 then. Like,
As you guys debate this real quick, I do
Look
want to
at
mention.
this. Really, guys?
Yeah, I don't even
I-
think it's a contest, to be honest
Oh
with
my
you.
God.
I don't even. I think she's much harder than Domino.
Okay, I'm putting Kim Basinger at last. And y'all can average it out. This is craziness. to
you
me.
all can average
No,
it.
No, we'll just drop your vote because it's so ridiculous. Like,
you
you
guys
be
are
last.
He has her behind Tracy.
Ray just pulled a kamikaze.
I'll take my fucking Tracy Bond and Kissy Suzuki over this girl. You guys are nuts.
Alright.
What?
You guys
So what
are
are you
crazy.
agreeable?
I was gonna say, I think that now
are
you're
you
just
going
talking
to be
nonsense.
agreeable
Yeah,
with?
not, yeah. You just made your vote unbelievable by placing her last because
There's
nobody
no way.
places her last.
That is craziness. Oh my gosh. So where you guys want to put her? Because it's definitely not my list.
Thanks, Barry.
I wanna
Thanks,
put her-
thanks
I
for
wanna
that.
put- I originally said 3. I was wrong. I want to put her at 1, but everybody else wants 2, so 2. It sounds like it is.
Don't
Oh my
touch number
gosh.
1. Like,
I'm about to have a stroke in here.
I want to mention this too, real quick.
Well,
I have to address this.
Okay.
Because you guys always give me crap every week about taking into account the character of what the actress is doing.
But at least you're not bringing up her eyebrows.
But also, at some point, we're going to have a discussion about all the James Bonds and which ones we like the best and rank them. And it's not just going to be based on what they look like.
Yes, it is.
It's going to be based.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we're all not seeing which Bond is hotter. You're correct.
Right. Why would
You're
we
very
not,
correct,
why would
Barry.
we not take that into account on the Bond girls?
Because us as heterosexual men are not ranking men on how hot they are.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
like I don't know where else to go with that.
I don't disagree that the attractiveness of the woman comes into play, but I don't know why we would totally disregard
That's all
the
that matters.
character in the film.
We're not talking about the film anymore. We're talking about the girl. That's what matters. And she's freaking out. That's
She is.
all
I
that
don't
matters.
disagree.
That's the only thing that counts
Right.
I mean, I would say this list would be much different if we were all doing what Barry was doing. Like, considering how good of a character they were, as not
Oh,
just
then,
how
yeah,
pretty
if you
they
did
are.
That, then what would you say? Pussy Galore is probably like 2 or 3.
Pussy Galore has to jump up the list. Kissy has to jump way up the list. She's instrumental in her movie.
Yeah.
Can you pull it back up, Ray, please?
Yep.
Ray's about to have an aneurysm here. It's like-
I mean, obviously, Octopussy is a very important character in her movie.
Melina would go up.
I mean, you don't really get much more important than being Bond's wife. So Tracy Bond probably jumps up the list.
Tracy Bond might be number 1.
Hey, Solitaire can see the future.
Solitaire can see. Well,
she
not
is-
anymore.
She is
Yeah, not
instrumental-
anymore. Bond ruined that.
Until she gets laid, she is instrumental to the plot. Like,
Triple X is also pretty instrumental. But, I would say that, Honey Rider's not super instrumental. Neither's Good
no,
Night.
Honey Rider just popped up
Neither-
on the beach randomly looking for shells. Like, that's why.
I mean, in all reality,
Just
Bond would be
bubble
dead
up.
without Goodhead.
Yeah.
we all.
Yeah, in every movie.
Without good head, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
In every movie.
Ain't nothing wrong.
I mean, in all reality, Barry, if we were ranking them on what they were in the movies, Tiffany Case would be last because she's a detriment to Bond through the whole movie instead of actually doing it. And you wanted to put her like number 1.
Yeah, she was his favorite.
I don't know if I put her at 1.
I think what we're
You told us she was like one of the
When we were
sexiest
on
women
Tiffany
ever.
Case, you wanted her up there.
I did, yes. thought she did a fine job.
You chastised the rest of us for not putting her higher.
Well, I don't know. Chastised. I may have.
I think what I'm hearing is Ray's coming up to 3.
God, when I walked into this apartment after I got off work, I did not think this is the way this fucking debate was gonna go.
Well, we talked about this earlier. I said to the Justin and Tom, I said, I really didn't see this coming with Barry completely disagreeing with every decision we make on the rankings. And I was like, I thought that guy might be Ray. And I feel like I just jinxed us because now Ray's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, Barry's
You
coming
like
around
like
what
what I
you like.
like. I like what I like, you know.
Yeah.
And I like a lady that doesn't pencil in her eyebrows, you know. My bad.
I'm just not willing to
I mean-
compare the women's eyebrows. I'm just not. Like,
I'm not, but I'm just saying, like, that just throws me off. The bitch ain't got no eyebrows. It's like she just went to the place and got the fucking pencil and just penciled them in. Like, come on, man, you gotta treat yourself better than that.
Coming in the 90s, man. That was the look.
Ugh, man. And y'all was dogging my Timothy Dalton girl too. And y'all put her way low. I'm gonna be
We'll get
mad.
there later on.
Ugh.
yeah, we got a couple movies left before that, Barry. Or not Barry, Ray. Sorry.
I know. All right, so where are we gonna
Shit
put
on
them,
you,
fellas?
Barry, like-
Where are we gonna put her, guys?
I got it coming. I think people want her too.
Everybody want her too?
Well, Barry said 1. The rest of us said 2, and you said.
Oh, are we
last.
going with Barry? Are we going with Barry?
Is that your real ranking at 14?
I mean, okay,
Is
so
that your real ranking?
let's go.
Like,
Okay, so
All right.
I think she looks better than Octopussy, but I don't think she looks better than Kissy and Tracy. So that's why I got to put her last. And all these other ones got nice womanly features. This girl is lacking in most departments here. And you guys have gotten on me a million times about, what the hell, Ray? What are you doing? I can't believe you're putting this one up here. And I'm like, why?
I don't think you're thinking of another podcast, Ray. I think
Wow.
you've agreed with us. It's Barry we argue with every week.
No, there's been some that you come at me kind of hard. And I'm like, what the hell? Really?
You've been known to catch some hell, right?
Yeah, I've caught a couple
No,
episodes
I
worth
I
of
mean,
shit.
I'll give you a hard time about comparing Bond movies to Scorpion King, but I don't know about I don't know about the hotness of chicks.
Oh, shit. But, yeah, whatever.
You just have to remember to say next time, Ray, hey, it ain't my list.
Exactly. I'm about to be on the Barry train for the
Yeah.
rest of this podcast.
God dang it.
All right, let me get Domino 1 out of the 2 spot. Can't believe
You got to move a lot of people, don't you?
I do.
Wow.
That might have been half my
That's,
me being pissed off.
That's the real reason why he wanted her.
Yeah, he's like, damn, this is a lot of work.
I think we just found the motive of what's happening here. Like,
All right, well, while Barry moves around these lovely ladies, let's talk about the movie, gentlemen. Barry, where do you rank Never Say Never Again on our list of movies?
I want to hear what other people say first.
Oh, wow.
We already know where he's gonna say it. It's always.
Yeah, it's the same spot. Okay, Justin, where are you going to go?
Honestly, I'd say I'm right under From Russia with Love.
So 5.
from
Yes.
under. See,
So-
I was gonna say above From Russia with Love.
So you're going 4.
Get ready to catch some hell, Tom.
Only if you do it 7 more episodes in a row.
Well, no,
But
because like I mean, I'll justify it, everything when the time comes. Like, I think I
Ray, do you have a pick here? Where would you like to put it?
I could, you know what, this one's a little bit more reasonable. I could probably put this one
Because really, I'm taking Ray's
Probably-
budget and using it.
probably at 8. I think it's probably a good solid 8.
8.
Yeah.
I was going to put it at 6. Tom, where you said? Oh, it was Barry. We're waiting on. Sorry,
Yeah,
Barry.
Hey, if Tom's gonna give me cover, I'm gonna fucking jump on that one.
So we have 2 4s, a 5, a 6, and an 8. So we're not ridiculously spread out,
Yeah.
but we have some different numbers there.
No, but like I said, I'll justify because I tried looking at it from the lens of what Ray looked at From Russia with Love at, especially after having to rewatch it here recently and all. Like, and I think it's a really good practical spy film. Like, yeah, they had to like write in like the storyline why he's an aged agent coming back into the field, but I feel like that kind of gives him leeway to use the gadgets rather than his physicality, like the watch and other stuff, which again, it's not over the top. Like it seems very practical for a field agent to use. So I mean, and like I said, even a lot of the stunts, yeah, some of them like you could like maybe try and question, but for the most part, like a lot of it was just gunplay, and I can believe that you're still a good shot. Like that isn't out of the realm of possibility here. Like you still got good eyesight, and you got good reflexes. But I mean, it's and even the fight scene, like I said, with the big bearded dude in the gym, like got his ass kicked. Like and
He did.
it was only by dumb Bond luck that like he fell backwards and everything like into the beakers that were that way. Like, but until then he was practically losing the fight. And even when we see like the little Spectre and everything, it's a bunch of rich dudes in a smoking cigar lounge or whatever. Like, it's not this big like secret society like that you see in Thunderball. Like everything seemed a lot more down to earth and practical to where I enjoyed that aspect of it. That's part of my argument.
But okay, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with what you said, but you said it's down to earth, like From Russia with Love.
Yeah.
So why is it better than From Russia with Love?
Because I enjoyed the dialogue way better.
Hmm.
Like it was like the dialogue, the little like jab one-liners, the whole idea that you had to bring back somebody who was like kind of like your like rogue agent that got everything done like despite the odds back in the day, that you had to like revive that kind of like storyline and bring it back. Like it's a really old archetypical storyline arc that I enjoy, and like it works. Like I think it's done really well in this movie. And I don't know, like I even like the like we talked earlier, like even the other characters they bring in, I like them better. Like there really isn't a character in this movie I don't like, including the villains. Like I said, there's even points
No,
where I'm
no,
rooting for them.
I refuse to believe that.
Like,
M is not likable.
no, but he's not likable in the sense of like, ooh, I'm a fan of M, but he's likable in the sense of like, man, you're that asshole. Like it's no different than like in Beverly Hills Cop, the captain that's always giving shit and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, but you want that dynamic back and forth. You want that friction and all that. And it was an easy way to write him out and bring him in as a new guy that's, yeah, that English like educated hard ass and all. Like so, but I mean, he plays it well. Like, but yeah, I'm not excited to see him and all, but I took it for what it was. Like, I enjoyed the character still.
Okay. Ray, since you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, since you have it the lowest at 8, what is your argument for that?
It's just like it just doesn't hit me as a Bond movie, but it's still solid as what it was. And as much as I hate fucking some of the Roger Moore stuff, he does have a couple decently solid ones, and I don't want to break that up. So I think for what it is, it's a really solid film that should be stuck at 8.
Okay. Well,
So
I
we have to
mean,
find a compromise at this juncture.
yeah, I was gonna say I've talked to the two ends of the spectrum.
I don't know.
5, a 6, and an 8. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Did either
two
of us
fours, a
sway
5, a
anybody?
6, and an
Like,
8. Yeah.
I mean, I'm willing to move down. I understand that this.
Barry, we have 2. This is the first
I-
time you have a majority.
I know,
Like,
but I'm also.
we're at
you
least
know,
tied.
So
Like,
at least 5 or 6.
like,
We got to compromise on at least 5 or 6.
I'm a compromiser where it can be done.
you would be. I'll come down to 5. Like I guess if we have to compromise and everything to like level out the 8, like because there's already a 5, so right there we have the majority.
I can accept that.
I can too.
I'm not against going up 1. I mean,
Not if I have to go down 1. If I have to lower
Ray
my
would have to
standard, you
be
should raise
quite a
yours.
giver
Like,
on this one, though.
like,
I'm sorry. What'd you say, Barry?
I was just saying Ray would have to be quite a giver on this one.
I mean, that's fine. Like, I'm not against going up a little bit. I gotta, as much as I give Roger Moore such flack, I mean, I gotta let him have something here. And
Yeah, that is a bit of a bummer just looking at that list because I do love Roger and he's not exactly top in the list now, is he?
no,
Well, I mean, he never was.
right.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, we're just putting another Connery ahead of all the Moores.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
All right, so are we in agreement that we'll come together on 5, Ray?
Okay, that'll work. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right. Well, that would put us at Goldfinger 1, Thunderball 2, Dr. No 3, From Russia at 4, Never Say Never Again at 5, You Only Live Twice at 6, The Spy Who Loved Me at 7. I'm not going to read the whole list. It's getting too long at this point, but it rounds out with Moonraker at 14. So, thank you for tuning in for this Never Say Never episode. We enjoyed it. We hope you did as well. Tune in next week for our A View to a Kill episode, our last Roger Moore.
Number 1.
It's gonna be a good one.
And I lost my train of thought. I heard a ridiculous statement. It threw me off. But yeah, thanks for tuning in to Blockbuster Bums.